before our marriage. After 20 years together with no children, our intimacy faded about 5 years ago. She made it clear that our physical relationship was a chore for her, leading me to stop initiating. Realizing our growing distance a couple of months ago, I sought a closer relationship, changing my behavior. Our friendship improved significantly. However, she confessed she's no longer romantically or is sexually in love with me. Simultaneously, I learned about her messages and meetings with the friend, which felt like a blow. She shared that he got kicked out by his wife and invited her to move in. Indecisive, she claims she needs time to think. After processing, we've had open discussions. Despite my love for her, I've emphasized that I won't endure this double life and she must decide our future. She appears torn between her head, recognizing the life we've built, and her heart, seeking excitement from the affair. As she talks about future plans, I can't help but wonder if she'll still be here to see them through. She acknowledges the stress caused by the uncertainty and acknowledges the need for a decision soon, but seems hesitant. I understand her dilemma, enjoying the best of both worlds for now. I've made it clear that I won't tolerate this dual existence. If she can't decide, I've stated my intention to make the decision for both of us, as it feels our life together lacks sufficient significance to her. Currently, I find myself in a peculiar half-life where my wife bids me goodnight, but disappears during the day, presumably spending time with him. Thanks for reading. It felt relieving to express my thoughts. Update: appreciate everyone's support. I've decided to prompt a decision soon for my own well-being, as my mental health has suffered, and this situation has added more stress. On a positive note, it forced me to confront my own issues and realize I couldn't cope alone. I've sought help now. Yesterday's realization hit me at my lowest point, and I recognized the need for a change. My priority is now myself, not us or her. Admitting the past 2 years were tough, I acknowledge my neglect. Instead of addressing it directly, she chose an affair. If our marriage ends as a result, it's on her. New to terms like 180 and pick-me dance found on this website recently. Never thought I'd need them, and her action surprised me, hence the thread title. She values my steadiness and reliability, enjoying the security, home, cats, garden, the whole package. However, her affair partner offers fun and excitement, even though she acknowledges his unreliability and the subpar living conditions he provides. I have a question about the 180. I understand it involves showing that you're moving on, focusing on self-improvement, but during this time, does it not seem like you're tacitly accepting the affair by allowing it to continue? This feels contradictory to the advice about confronting the situation and pushing for a decision. I apologize if this sounds confusing, but that's where my emotions are right now. On a positive note, I've seen a doctor and started antidepressants. I also have a therapy assessment tomorrow to address my hidden struggle with depression over the past couple of years. As an act of rebellion, I'm getting my hair colored this week, a practice I used to love but stopped due to my spouse's preferences. It may seem rebellious for someone as straight-laced as me, but I want to do it, so I am, regardless of what anyone, including my WW, thinks. Expect a few raised eyebrows when I return to work next week. Feeling better today, maybe the meds are kicking in. The last few days were rough with various side effects, but I went and got my hair colored, and I love it. Also, I'm going out for lunch with some work colleagues today, something I haven't done in a long time. She hasn't commented much on any changes, but when she asked why I had my hair done, I simply said I wanted to do it, and it makes me feel happier. This morning, she seemed to pick a fight about trivial matters. Having read advice, likely from this website, about wayward spouses using this tactic to ease their guilt, and following the principles of the Tactical Primer, an excellent article by the way, I remained polite, but cool. She backed off when she realized I wasn't going to engage in an argument. Update: the wayward spouse was in a bad mood and accused me of reverting to old habits. I had to walk away, dealing with the worst pain due to her actions. After we both calmed down, I explained it was unfair, and I wouldn't accept her behavior. She seemed shocked and immediately apologized. Now she's learned 2 things about my state of mind. I'll walk away from arguments and I'll defend myself calmly. Unlike the old me who would have bought flowers after a disagreement, I didn't, and she noticed. I believe she's still messaging him, though she hasn't seen him this week based on her timeline. She appears grumpy, and guilt is evident in her eyes, but she hasn't committed to mending the relationship. I'm 2 weeks into my meds, feeling calmer, unsure if it's the medication or the initial shock of D-Day wearing off. I'm immensely grateful for this website, especially the Tactical Primer and the 180. The accuracy of the information has been astonishingly helpful in the short period post-D-Day. To any newbies reading this, I strongly urge you to check out these articles, even if you're not ready to start the 180 yet. This morning, my wayward spouse, WS, initiated a conversation about our marriage, a first as all previous talks were initiated by me. However, I've stopped doing so, 180. She admitted to flip-flopping about her decision and being unable to make up her mind. Tactical primer. I expressed my pain and hurt at her actions. 180. And for the first time, she got upset because of the pain she's caused me. We had an honest discussion about the future of our marriage, and though no decision has been reached, it was clear my words were sinking in. She acknowledged a change in my attitude post-D-Day, 180, which is influencing her thoughts. So, the path to reconciliation or divorce remains uncertain, but we're still communicating and there's still hope, 180. Experienced a setback this evening. Despite progress with the 180, my wayward spouse said something that brought tears to my eyes before I could catch myself. Frustrated that I let her see my vulnerability, I even expressed my fear of losing her. Tomorrow is a new day and I'm determined to be stronger. Yet as the new day dawns, I don't feel any stronger. Overcoming the initial shock of D-Day seemed temporary. Today feels like starting from day one. Nausea, tearfulness, impaired brain function. I'm navigating the day one step at a time. While dealing with my own emotional turmoil, I find myself caring for her due to her poor eyesight, a medical issue she's currently facing. Irony strikes as the affair partner is elevated while the betrayed spouse handles the day-to-day challenges. I'm her reading eyes, interpreting oven temperatures, jar labels, TV captions, constantly there for her as frustration spills out from her impaired vision. The AP's fantasy world doesn't involve dealing with these realities. Update. I must admit, parts of the 180 feel liberating and empowering. Booked a theater trip next weekend to see a show I want to see. In the past, I might have asked my wayward spouse, and if she didn't want to go, I probably wouldn't have gone either. This time, I didn't ask. This experience has clarified a change I'll be making if we reconcile. I won't refrain from doing something just because she's not interested. I'll decide to do things, and if she wants to join, great. If not, I won't miss out because I prioritize her feelings. It's a significant shift in our marriage dynamics, and if she doesn't like it, tough. She needs to remember her actions caused this upheaval and changed who I am and my outlook on life. If she had any suspicions about our relationship dynamics changing, it's now undeniable. She was shocked and confused yesterday when she learned about my theater plans without prior discussion. This morning she complained about not knowing when I'll be home during the working day. Although I generally work 8 to 4, my hybrid office and work-from-home setup means I just mentioned being home around lunchtime. She finds my new unpredictability unsettling, despite having complained before that I was too predictable. Update? Thanks for your best wishes. Went to the theater over the weekend, and while the show, an ABBA tribute act, was a bit cheesy, it felt great to get out and have some fun. I've always loved live theater shows and even worked at that exact theater for a few years. It was such a buzz. The slight change to the plans was that WS wanted to go with me, so I agreed, and we had a surprisingly good time together. She's been attentive, affectionate, and seems to be making an effort for us to be closer. We've entered a new phase where she has either ended the affair, at least not seeing him, not sure about WhatsApp yet, or has increased her lying to a massive degree. I want to believe the former, but am wary about the latter. I'm waiting to see how this goes, feeling relieved that a tipping point has been reached. Either she's working with me for potential reconciliation, or I'll find out she's been lying massively, crossing a line I won't accept, and I'll be ready to proceed with divorce. She's making sure I know where she is at all times, or where she says she is, and her actions seem to support this. However, full trust is a long way off.
She's initiating more physical contact, hugs, kisses, touches than before.
Personally, I'm feeling calmer, thanks to a combination of medication, processing thoughts post-D-Day, and improved dynamics with WS. Also, I've addressed an overeating disorder, lost weight, nearly 5 stone 31 kg, and bought new clothes, which feels great. One major hurdle is that she doesn't seem to feel she's done anything massively wrong and avoids talking about it. It seems like she's denying it happened in her own head. I need her to understand the deep hurt I'm experiencing. I've printed out an article from this website about the tears of the betrayed spouse and plan to discuss it with her at an appropriate time because it exactly describes how I felt. Still early days, 6 weeks post-D-Day, uncertain where this will end up or even where I want it to end up at the moment. I'll keep going and see how things work out. Can't believe she would attempt to love bomb me, but as the title of this thread suggests, I truly don't know who she is anymore. I acknowledge that all of you have been remarkably accurate so far, and I'll mentally prepare for that possibility. This morning, I focused on practical matters like sorting out my council tax and other responsibilities. As I don't have a forwarding address for her, they had to call her, so she's aware that I'm taking steps to manage my finances. Spent the afternoon with a friend just talking. She's been through a divorce as well. Another friend is coming over tomorrow to help rearrange furniture. change room purposes, and essentially claim the space, as he put it. On Saturday morning, my wayward spouse is coming to take away the chickens we kept in the back garden. I don't want to be responsible for them, so I'm already preparing myself for that encounter.
Update. Totally exhausted tonight after a very busy yet productive day.
Received a message from my wayward spouse this morning, stating she wanted to collect the marital bed on Saturday when she picks up the chickens. I dismantled it and placed it by the door for her. I understand this might seem overly generous, but there's a purpose. I've completely reclaimed the house. Moved my things into the larger bedroom, rearranged furniture, replaced a canvas she liked with a framed football shirt, and bought new bedding. The room shows no sign she ever lived there. She left belongings scattered around the house and items in the bathrooms, which I boxed and placed with the chicken stuff she's collecting. I mostly work from home, and today I moved my office back into my old bedroom in the house, turning the garden building into a gym, its original purpose. Essentially, every room in the house has been changed, even if just by rearranging furniture. Needed to do this for myself to make the house feel different. She's in for a shock tomorrow when she realizes everything has changed since she left less than 48 hours ago. Hopefully it conveys that I accept her decision and am moving on with my life. WS arrived with her son and a friend to collect the chickens in bed. I remained cool, calm, and collected, having my game face on. Got emotional and had a brief cry after she left, ensuring she'd never see me like that again. Surprisingly, she seemed emotional and found the experience hard. Walking through the changed house, she exclaimed, "Bloody hell!" noticing every detail, even the new bedding and the football shirt on the bedroom wall instead of her canvas. A huge dose of reality hit her. Handed her unopened post and refused to engage in conversation about anything other than the items she was collecting. Just before leaving, she tried to kiss me. I backed off, made it clear, and settled for a quick peck on the cheek and a brief hug. That was it. No reason for her to touch or kiss me again. Her choices and actions caused this situation, not mine, and she needs to understand that reality. Have 3 fantastic friends supporting me, issuing strict orders through WhatsApp after she left. One more friend is coming later today to check in. My support network has been incredibly active today. 2 friends visited, and the third was on the phone for over an hour. I am truly grateful for their unwavering support. While talking to my divorced friend who has known both of us for many years, I shared how my wayward spouse behaved this morning, getting emotional and seeming overwhelmed, eager to leave. My friend believes that WS anticipated finding an unchanged house and an emotional wreck in the corner. Instead, she encountered a calm, confident, betrayed spouse who rearranged the entire house and physically distanced from her affection. According to my friend, WS has realized she lost control of the situation and me, and I've reclaimed power and control over my life. It does make sense. Despite the pain WS is causing, I felt sympathy for her this morning because the experience clearly upset her. This likely says more about me than her. While I understand it must have been shocking to see the house she lived in for many years suddenly changed, she made her decision and now has to live with the consequences. Our friend believes it won't be long before WS realizes her mistake and wants to talk about moving back in a situation she unfortunately experienced with her own wayward spouse a few years ago. I need to mentally prepare for that possibility, as I am currently not ready to deal with that emotion. A couple of months ago, I was mentally prepared for her to leave, realize her mistake, and possibly take her back. However, my mindset has shifted, and I cannot even contemplate moving toward reconciliation anymore. I warned her at the start that there would come a point when I'd had enough, and the pain would be too great to continue. Her recent comments, moving out, and revealing she knew a month ago but kept it from me due to my mental health problems have pushed me past that point. I can't fathom how she knew all that time, yet continued to be more affectionate each day, making me believe she wanted to reconcile. How could she kiss me, hold me, and talk to me in such a way, while knowing she had decided to leave? I truly have been living with a stranger. Just had a big ouch moment. I was tidying an ottoman, and in the bottom was her rucksack. It was open, and inside was her secret lingerie stash. All items I recognized and had bought. So she has been wearing lingerie I bought her. For him, that is cold. Phoned a friend and talked to her for a while just to get over the shock. Talking to my divorced friend yesterday, she said, brace yourself, because more revelations are going to come out. Yep, just had my first one. Update, seeking advice. I've been communicating with my wayward spouse via WhatsApp to coordinate when she'll collect more of her belongings, what she intends to take, etc. Additionally, I've initiated the divorce process, received the form, and plan to fill it out this week, awaiting her countersignature. In the UK, the joint application makes the process more straightforward, eliminating the need for at-fault divorces. However, Some of her messages seem odd, indicating that the speed of the process is overwhelming her. By nature, I'm an organized and practical person, inclined to move forward swiftly once decisions are made, a trait honed in my work life. I'm now applying these principles to the divorce, aiming to clear her belongings and commence the legal process, which takes a minimum of 7 months even with mutual agreement. I understand she's lost control of the situation, but I don't comprehend why that should matter anymore. She's getting what she wanted, living with the affair partner. Is her distress linked to my composed and pragmatic approach, considering she initiated the split? If any caring feelings remain for me, shouldn't she be content that I'm handling it calmly and practically? Concerns about the process turning ugly have been raised. I've repeatedly assured her that, although undesired if we proceed with divorce, I aim for it to be calm and amicable. There's no need for contention, the decision is made, and it's in both our best interests to navigate the process and move on. Last week, she mentioned disclosing the situation to only 2 friends. Today, I visited one of them to retrieve a spare key. It's evident that, despite being a friend to WS, she disapproves of her actions and thinks she has lost her way. Feeling utterly confused. This morning was incredibly challenging. WS came to the property with a van to collect more of her belongings, and it felt much harder than the first visit on Saturday. Perhaps I was too numb then to fully feel the impact. Today, we went through joint possessions like kitchen appliances and saucepans items tied to the marriage. It was tougher than when she took her personal belongings. I coped until she left, then the emotions hit. She wanted to chit-chat about her week, but I only discussed the items she was taking, politely disengaging from personal conversations. She was underprepared, lacking enough boxes and van space for all she intended to take, so another visit will be necessary. It reached a point where she seemed overwhelmed and just wanted to leave, which she did. We agreed that next week, I'll inform her of my availability for her to collect more belongings, and on that day, we'll complete the divorce form for submission. It was a tough morning, but I spent an hour on the phone with a friend afterward. Another friend is coming over this evening to discuss how it went and provide a supportive space. Finding this website has been a great help, hearing others' experiences, and preparing for what WS might do next. Thank you all for your insights and advice. Update. Despite the pain, I'm relishing the time to myself, enjoying the changes I've made and the freedom of making decisions solely for myself, an experience I've never had before, and it feels liberating. On a positive note, I had an interview yesterday for a promotion at work, a goal I've been working towards for a long time. I got the job and will start my new role on July 1st. I've scheduled WS to come around next Thursday to collect more belongings, but it seems she's in no rush to take everything. She wanted to pick up specific items like her pottery and glassware. Feeling that repeated visits are not helping me, I've left delicate items for her to pack, spending 7 hours today packing everything else: her books, CDs, DVDs, various possessions, spare bedding, and more. Once this is gone, there will be nothing left in the house for her to collect. While she may want some items from the garden, I might arrange not to be present when she collects those. Sorting out spare bedding, I couldn't help but smile at the thought of her family visiting the new property. We live in a seaside town, just a 10-minute walk to the beach. The new house is miles inland, far from the beach, so it'll be interesting to see if her grandchildren visit as frequently. During the packing, I stumbled upon her diaries for the last 3 years. Reading through 2022, I discovered that they were spending time together much earlier than she led me to believe. The affair started at least a year before she decided to leave. It makes me wonder when or if she would have ever told me if I hadn't found out and put her in a position where a decision had to be made, especially regarding no contact with the AP, a condition for considering reconciliation, which she couldn't fulfill. I completed the divorce application this morning, signed it, and now just need her signature on Thursday when she collects her belongings. Once that's done, I can get it registered and initiate the divorce process properly. Our 20th wedding anniversary was in February, and I have no intention of celebrating a 21st. Hopefully, the divorce can be fully completed by then. Filling out the form was okay for me, as I handle these types of forms daily in my job. However, signing it was challenging. Nevertheless, it's done, marking a significant step toward extricating myself from this situation. Last night, we were messaging to coordinate the items she plans to collect. It made me smile because she sent several messages throughout the evening as she thought of more things to take. Each time I had already packed the items, reinforcing that I am organized, have considered what she wants, and am well ahead in this process. Had a restful night's sleep in my new double bed. WS took the marital bed when she moved out, leaving her and AP with an old bed we once shared. Now I have a super comfy double bed all to myself, and only I, plus the cats, will use it unless someone proves they're worth my time and enters my personal space. House changes are still happening swiftly. Alongside new bedding, I've purchased towels and other items to make the house feel different. I've discovered the therapeutic benefits of gardening, finding satisfaction in tidying and cutting back plants during my lunch break. The garden will now be tended to according to my preferences, no longer up to requests. Being a watch collector, I've treated myself to a new watch to celebrate my recent promotion. It's on its way and should arrive tomorrow, adding a touch of excitement. While it's early days, I feel more relaxed in the house, free from anticipating WS's complaints. Despite my efforts to salvage the marriage, I'm starting to think that moving forward without her might be the better option. If she stays with AP, I have the chance to write a new chapter for myself. If she considers reconciliation, I'll establish healthier boundaries and requirements before even entertaining the idea.